Princess culture has come a long way, as Amazon's Cinderella justly proves. Last year, Amazon released its own fairy tale princess, starring Camila Cabello in the lead role of Cinderella. And while some people fell in love with her work instantly, most of the viewers who watched it were a tad bit disappointed and overwhelmed. Despite its over the top scenes of female empowerment, gender fluidity, and wokeness in general, the film seems to have received a terrible backlash, not just from the critics but from the audiences as well. In this video, I'll take a look at the ending of this K. Cannon directed film and try to understand why everyone seems to hate it. But before I begin, let me welcome you to the channel. I am Ritika, glad to find you watching my video. I hope you enjoyed enough to watch till the end, and then if you like it, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and also subscribe and share. Thank you so much, and now let's get on with it. Everyone knows the story of Cinderella. Here's a girl who was tortured and abused, forced into domestic labor by her stepmother after her father's untimely demise, and who, despite it all, has hope. She has hope for a better future, one where she will be able to get out of her attic and explore the world in its true majesty. And that is why this story is so popular amongst the crowds. Not because Cinderella waits for her prince to come and rescue her, but because she has hope that one day she will have a better future. And while Amazon's Cinderella keeps up with that hope, this Ella is also nothing like the one we know. Portrayed by Camila Cabello, this Cinderella is different in that she has dreams. Dreams that are unique. She doesn't want to sit on a throne and wave from the royal box, but rather go on and open her own shop, Dresses by Ella. The film sets this theme right from the start when Cabello sings Million to One, an original song for the film. And unlike your typical Cinderella tale, where the princess goes to the ball to have a good time or meet the prince, Cabello's character goes there to network. Every maiden from far and wide would be present at the ball. If she can get just one customer for herself, then that will be enough, for that would enable her to start her own journey into life as a dressmaker. At the same time, however, the presence of the prince looms large over her head. He is the one who gave her the idea of turning this ball into a networking event. He encourages her in her dreams, helps her get out of the basement she's stuck in, but doesn't take her to his room. Rather, he takes her to show her the world. This is the entire premise of the film, and while it takes away a lot of key moments from the story, like the glass slipper, it also gives us something different, especially as far as the ending of the story is concerned. For the most part, the ending of Cinderella is a happy one. At the beginning of the story, Cinderella was criticized by her stepmother for her lack of feminine traits. The stepmother Vivian only wanted what was best for her, in her own ways at least. But they often clashed nonetheless. When Cinderella finally stood up to that woman, Vivian promised her hand in marriage to Thomas, a local rich guy. Except on the day of the ceremony, Cinderella runs away because she has her own dreams of dressmaking to follow. She bags her biggest client, is promised that she could work as the queen's dressmaker and that she could also travel the world as part of her troupe. Everything is good for her. Now, earlier in the tale, she had rejected the prince because women of court weren't allowed to open businesses. But that's the only thing she has ever wanted, to open her own shop. In this choice between a life of luxury and a life full of her dreams, she chose her dreams. This broke Prince Robert's heart, until he decided that he did not want the throne after all, and that he would rather travel the world with Ella than be tied to his own kingdom. The very kingdom that he wanted to rule, as suggested in this scene.
You know how badly I want to be king.
I do.
But hey, as long as it's the prince who gives up his dreams and not Cinderella, it's still good, isn't it? Which brings me to yet another issue. Throughout the film, we see how women in this kingdom are very oppressed. Even the queen has no freedom at all, until she stands up to her husband, and suddenly she gets to stand up to him in public as well. And turns out that's okay. At the same time, there's another important female, Princess Gwen, Robert's sister, who had been pining for the throne like her brother, probably much more than her brother. She had great ideas about how one can take better care of the kingdom, But because she was a princess and not the prince, the king would often undermine her words. And probably also because she picked the worst times for bringing those ideas forward, but that doesn't really matter either because, well, she's a woman. Anyhow, by the end of the movie, Gwen is appointed as the first female ruler of the kingdom because she deserves it more than the prince. For some women out there in the crowd, that would have been a pretty strong moment. That's great, isn't it? The one who deserves it finally gets it. Moreover, even the stepmother and Cinderella get to mend their relationship because Ella can finally have the best of both worlds. In other words, everyone except the creepy guy who tried to marry Ella gets to have a happy ending. Yet, I find this ending to be particularly sexist, and here's how. Can we really ignore the fact that the only reason Gwen gets the throne is because her brother actually rejects it in the first place? Because, like I said, her brother chooses to be with Ella and gives up his life of luxury instead. And that's literally only how Gwen gets to be the queen. Besides, while we're at it, can we talk about how the king understood the errors in his ways practically overnight? Was the fact that his wife threatened not to talk to him, the same wife who he had been pushing down all this while, by the way, be enough for him to go against every value he held from the start? I think not. In conclusion, while this film attempted to be a movie of female empowerment, it terribly failed at empowering the other people in the story. Female empowerment has always been an issue close to my heart, but it must never happen at the expense of the other genders or people. This film, however, degrades important people in order to empower the other characters. Not to forget that the stepsisters have practically no significance whatsoever. They're not even mean to her in the film that they should be denied appreciation. Shouldn't they have been given a happy ending too? Is empowerment of just one person enough for it to be labeled as an empowering film? Shouldn't it be about all of them in some ways at least? I mean, we already received a feminist Cinderella story in 1998 with Drew Barrymore's Danielle. If we receive another one 20 years later, shouldn't she at least be more empowering than that? In other words, what I'm trying to say is that the one thing about feminism, or at least the feminism that we have come to understand today, is that even though it promotes privileges of women, it doesn't try to take away the ones from other genders. If Cinderella has always been accused of following the social norms despite trying to find herself, then the prince does exactly the same thing here. The sexes are reversed in this scene, but the ending is still pretty much the same. Yes, Ella and Robert aren't married, but also, yes, he gives up his entire life to be able to work as the lover of a dressmaker. The world may be cherishing Cinderella, but there is no happy ending for Prince Robert here. In that way, this was yet another movie that ventured into the ideology of faux feminism, something that I've come to despise with every cell in me, especially with its ending. Cinderella does to the prince exactly what the larger sex has been doing to women all the while. That is not feminism. That is just wrong. That is also why I had to take some time out and make this video. I just had to talk about it. How could I know it? But hey, that's it from me today. I hope this video brought to light some key issues that are close to my heart regarding Cabello's Cinderella. I have more thoughts that I'd like to talk about, so if you're interested, please let me know in the comments below. If you liked this video, then please hit the thumbs up button and the subscribe button and the share button and any other button if there's any left. Don't forget to leave your thoughts down below and I'd love to talk. In the meantime, this is Ritika signing off for today.